all seek it.
Must be destroyed.
If you do not find a way, no one will.
And now you can own it. When The Lord of the Rings comes home on VHS and DVD.
Hi, welcome back to Not Your Mother's Hobbies. Today we're checking out the first of our little hobbit friendos. This is going to be Merry! Look at him with this little rock. He's a tiny little guy. All of these hobbits are tiny little fellows. But hey, they got some bright and colorful clothing, at least this one does. And lots of little, surprisingly intricate details going on these guys. So let's paint them up and get them on the table. We're going to start off with his little cloak. So I'm using Basilicanum Gray here. Just cover all of that cloak up together. All around there, he's got a fairly dark cloak compared to some of the other guys. We're also going to use this on his little rock and his sword that he has going on. He's kind of dual wielding. I guess some of these guys are dual wielding. They have stones and swords. For his little brown trousers, I'm using Gargak Sewer. I found this kind of color to be pretty nice for some normal kind of villager trousers, villager pants. I've been using it kind of all over the place. You might have noticed in my recent videos. I'm really liking it for more than just a dirty metal. We're also going to use another brown, this time snakebite leather, on his little bag. I don't know what that doodad on the big pouch is, but maybe we'll do something more with it later. Now he does have a big green jacket, or rather a bright green jacket, since he's so tiny. And we're going to use orc flesh on this. Any kind of bright green is really going to make this jacket pop and stand out apart from a lot of the darker colors he's got going on. Maybe that's why he's got such a dark cape and dark pants going on. Now I'm using Guilliman flesh here for his skin tone. We're just basing that in. And I noticed that mine was my little hobbit was a little pale. So I did put on an extra little coat or two, just to darken him down and get a little more range. You can see here, he's a little more darker. I did the same thing with Eandon Yellow on his little shirt. And if that ends up not being bright enough for you, your base coat, you can brighten up by just putting a brighter white down. If the Zenithal is maybe a little too dark, you can brighten it up before you start. I'm using Skeleton Horde for his hair, and that includes the hair on his feet. Everything is all base coated and ready, and here we go. We're starting to put those layers on, starting with his sword. We're doing gunmetal here for our metallics. He's only got that sword going, so just put that on there and get it shining. Storm Vermin fur here, though, for some of the cleanup on the cloak. Any kind of matching gray will work. Some kind of dirty, dingy gray, just to clean up some of that, any tide pools or streaking or grimy or whatever stuff going on. And then I put a little bit of gray sear or any kind of cool gray on top. You can just dry brush a little bit. I didn't go crazy. I just put it on the tips, the ends of things, the end of his cloak, and then a bit here and there on like the shoulder or his hood. Also dotting some in on this rock just to get a little more definition around there, make it have a little more detail. And then coming back in once that metallic was dried with some non-oil gloss. Now this doesn't exist, so just use a dark shade and a gloss varnish on top. That'll blend everything in and make it nice and shiny metallic. Moot green I'm using to layer up on his coat. And once more, that is to brighten up some areas that are maybe too dark, smooth out some streaking, any kind of areas that ended up getting not looking too good with the contrast or that you want to make brighter. And then we're going to his fleshy tones. We're using Cadian flesh tone. This is just to, again, balance everything out, make his flesh a little more nice and clean and fleshy, I guess. And going in there, be careful. These details are very, very tiny. Take your time, be patient, and remember, it's just paint. You can always fix it later. And another little brighter highlight on those cheekbones, chin, nose, raised edges, his toesies, and his hands. Places like fingers and knuckles, any kind of thing that points out like that. Now you could be finished there, but we're going to push things a little bit further and go in with Pallid Witch Flesh here, just to give us a final highlight on the skin. He's very tiny features and this is going to really help those small faces and toes and whatnot really stand out. Mind the blurriness, but you know what I'm doing, you know where I'm going. Check out some other videos if you need some better in-focus stuff, but we're just going for those raised edges, getting little dots in there, and that'll help us make everything seen. Again, sorry about the defocus here, but we got Abaddon Black, putting that in to the buttons on his shirt, and that'll help actually brighten up some of that yellow, as well as keep some little extra detail bits in his shirt going, some little points of interest. And of course, a little bit of chrome on there to give us some highlights on our metallics. We got Wraithbone, and I'm doing those L'Oreal highlights that you know I like to do. Just going all around that hair and just getting where that light would hit off. Sometimes I'm going really detailed, sometimes I'm not, and I'm just doing kind of a scratchy ring around where that highlight would pick up. Don't forget about his feet as well. That's hair also. That would get some shampoo sheen going on. And then I go in with some white for some additional little thin highlighting. Again, in that little L'Oreal sheen in any areas that you think would catch that light. Also using this on the stone that he's got in his hand, just to pick up a little more edge detail on there and make it look a little more fierce. Now, if you feel like that hair is a little too bright, hey, you're not alone. And I put a little bit of Reikland Fresh on here, a little flesh shade going down, and that's going to dim it down, smooth it down, and make it more of a strawberry blonde. And of course, we base things like normal. We got our Basilicanum gray contrast, followed by a white dry brush. I'm also using this white dry brush just to brighten up some areas on that cloak as well. Just same thing, the tips, the hood, etc. And following up the basing with a nice, clean black rim. And there you have it, Mary, or Meriadoc Brandybuck, is finished, all painted up and looking good. I like how the brightness of his coat and everything comes together. Really makes him seen. I like that pop of color against some of that gray. I did go in a little more detail on those buttons, those black buttons. I added little dots of white in there just to make them pop a little bit more. I felt like they were getting a little lost and looking dull, and that helped shape them a bit more and stand out against that yellow shirt. I also like how the Reikland Flesh Shade wash really toned down that hair. We kept those L'Oreal highlights, but they were just a little too bright for how bright I actually wanted his hair. And it gave a nice little rosy sheen to his hair, making that strawberry blonde really nice and kind of unique compared to some of the other hobbits, hopefully. So there you have it, our first Hobbit. We've just got 3 more, so get ready to check those out. As always, thanks for everybody who watches, likes, comments, subscribes. Thank you so much to the patrons. Your guys' support is great. Hope you're liking those behind-the-scenes work-in-progress pics we've been doing and trying to get them out. But hey, work has been busy. Regardless, keep your eyes out for the next video. Bye-bye!